There are games that entertain, games that challenge, and then there are games that leave an undeniable mark on your soul. Yes, I said soul. And Last of Us Part 1 is exactly that. It's not just a game, it's an emotional journey, a masterclass in storytelling, and a benchmark for what video games can achieve as an art form. From the very first moment, it pulls you into a world that feels both familiar and alien, asking you to face the brutality of survival and the profound beauty of connection. At its core, Last of Us Part 1 is not about the apocalypse. It's about the people living through it. It's about the scars we carry, the choices we make, and the bonds we form along the way. This is a game that does not shy away from the grey areas of mortality as well. It forces you to confront difficult situations about truth and love and sacrifice, and what it means to keep going when everything seems lost. It's a story that lingers with you after the credits roll. I mean, look at me. I'm making a video about this game almost 13 years after its release. And this is my fourth playthrough through it, and this is the first time I'm playing it on my PlayStation 5, and I was able to get the new PlayStation 5 gaming headphones. And the 3D audio makes this game even more eerie than it actually is. In some situations, we're trying to face clickers, you literally hear them around you. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes at night, that shit scares the fuck out of me. I can't even lie, because I'm over here, like, actually looking behind me if there's a clicker. So, let's talk about this game. The opening sequence introduces us to Joel and his daughter Sarah in what feels like a quiet, ordinary evening. Sarah gives Joel a birthday present, a watch to replace his broken one. The conversation is simple but brimming with warmth and authenticity. It's the iconic line of, "I sell drugs, I sell hardcore drugs," and then Joel responds, "Good, now you can help me pay off the mortgage." This lighthearted moment immediately endears you to their bond. I can't do a Joel impression, by the way. It's not just a father daughter relationship, it's a friendship, one built on love and trust. This connection is what makes the events following so much more devastating. The prologue ends with a gut wrenching moment of loss that establishes the emotional core of this story. Till this day, people still talk about it. Again, evidently, I'm doing a whole video about this game, just talking about it and how amazing it is. This is not just about survival, it's about the scars we carry and how they shape us. Joel's grief becomes the foundation for everything that follows. It's the reason why he's so closed off and so cold and so guarded when we meet him 20 years later. And this is also shout out to the script writers for this game. They did an amazing job telling Joel's story. After the playful and heartfelt moment exchange between Sarah and Joel, where she gives him the now iconic watch as a birthday gift, Joel insists that it's late and it's time for her to go to bed. Sarah protests this as any 13-year-old would when it gets late and you want to stay up, but she ends up crashing on the couch, and Joel picks her up and carries her to her room. The way he holds her in this moment feels so natural and so loving that it becomes all the more heartbreaking when you realize it's the same way he holds her during her final moments. Sarah wakes up from her sleep. The quiet night is palpable, but when she awakens in the early hours, the atmosphere has shifted dramatically. The house feels eerily silent, shadows loom larger, and an unsettling tension hangs in the air. And this all starts with a phone call from Tommy in such an urgent voice asking where Joel is. And this is the first time in the game where you realize, like, oh shit, like something's about to go down. So you get to explore the house as Sarah. You find a really cool birthday note that she wanted to give to Joel. And it's a really, again, like a heartfelt moment and it's kind of funny. And then you begin to notice the first sign of impending disaster. In the bathroom, a newspaper catches your eye. The headline mentions a mysterious infection spreading rapidly, causing increased aggression in people. It's a small detail, but it effectively sets the stage for the chaos that's about to unfold. This kind of environmental storytelling is a hallmark for this game, and you see it throughout the game. You can pick up letters from families talking to their kids, saying goodbye for the last time, and it's pretty amazing, and it draws you deeper into its world without overexposure.
That's too small. Great.
Forgot to leave that stupid robot on his grave.
Continuing through the house, you enter Joel's bedroom. The TV is on, broadcasting a live news report. The reporter is covering growing unrest in the city, describing chaos and panic. Suddenly, an explosion happens.
It lights up the night sky, and is accompanied by a thunderous boom that rattles the house. She instinctively flinches, her fear growing as the realization sets that whatever is happening is far closer than she imagined. The eerie silence that follows is deafening, making the moment even more unsettling. It's not just something happening out there anymore, it's right outside, creeping closer and closer. This combination of seeing the explosion in real time and the sudden broadcast interruption leaves you with a deep, sickening feeling that everything is about to go to shit. Then, panic really starts to seep in when you hear distant sirens and see flashes outside the windows. Then Joel bursts through the door, his demeanor frantic yet controlled, asking if Sarah is okay while trying to hide his fear. He quickly asks her to stay away from the doors and windows and begins searching for his gun. The tension escalates rapidly when an infected neighbor, Jimmy, crashes through the door and Joel shields Sarah instinctively, his protective nature taking over. He shouts to stay back, positioning himself between her and the immediate threat. With no other choice, he raises his gun and shoots Jimmy. The reality of the situation hits hard. This is no ordinary night. Joel's voice trembles just slightly, a mix of disbelief and grim resolve after the shot. There's a moment of stunned silence. Sarah's eyes widen in shock. She stammers. Joel, keeping his composure for her sake, simply says, "You have to understand, this is serious and we have to get out of here." This scene is crucial in showcasing Joel's protective instincts and foreshadows the lengths he will go to keep his loved ones safe. It also highlights the game's ability to build emotional, intense moments between the characters and the player within a short span of time. As they leave the house and join Tommy, the outside world is in complete disarray. Car crashes, civilians panicked, emergency vehicles speeding by, and the distant glow of a fire from a farm haunting the sky red. The drive through town is a harrowing experience. You witness the breakdown of society in real time. Gas stations being burned, people pleading for help, and danger lurking around every corner. Then comes the pivotal moment that no matter how many times I've played this game, it never fails to bring tears to my eyes. After a frantic escape, Joel and Sarah encounter a lone soldier. Relief washes over them for just a brief moment, only to be shattered as he receives orders. He knows something's off and he replies on the radio, "Sir, there's a little girl." Then he turns his gun on them, points it, and shoots. They tumble down a small hill, and Tommy's there for the rescue. But as he regains his bearings, he realizes that Sarah's been hit. The sheer agony in his voice as he pleads is heart-wrenching. This scene owns its profound impact on the stellar performance of Troy Baker and Hannah Hayes. Their portrayal brings an authenticity that blurs the line between game and reality. Joel's desperation and Sarah's fading voice create a moment so powerful that it's become one of the most iconic in gaming history. This devastating loss sets the stage for everything that follows. It explains why Joel's hardened exterior, his reluctance to form new attachment, and the emotional walls he built around himself. It's a masterclass in storytelling that effectively hooks the player, making you deeply invested in Joel's journey from that point onward.
Sarah. Baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on. No. No. No, no, no. Please. 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 Please don't. Please.
The Joel we meet 20 years after the outbreak have turned him into a hardened, pragmatic survivor. He's not the same man we saw in the prologue. The warmth he once had is gone, replaced by a cold, calculated demeanor. Joel is a man who does what needs to be done, no matter how morally ambiguous it may be. He's a smuggler, someone who exists in the shadows of this broken society, navigating its dangers with brutal efficiency. The Joel we meet here is a reflection of the world around him, scarred, cynical, and stripped of hope. But even in this hardened exterior, there's a flicker of the man he once was. Hidden beneath years of pain and loss, this duality is what makes him such a compelling character. You see a man who has learned to survive, but not to live. And none of this would work without Troy Baker. His performance as Joel is nothing short of masterful. It's not just about the lines he delivers, it's the way he delivers them. Every word, every pause, every sigh carries weight. He doesn't just voice Joel, he becomes Joel. You feel the exhaustion in his tone, the pain he's buried for 2 decades, and the quiet anger simmering just beneath the surface. Baker's portrayal makes Joel more than just a character in a game. He feels real. His grief, his cynicism, his fleeting moments of vulnerability, they're all brought to life through a performance that's as nuanced as it is powerful.
He's my goddamn brother.
Tommy.
Holy shit.
How you doing, baby brother?
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Let me look at you.
When the game shifts to 20 years after the events of the prologue, the stark reality of its world hits you like a brick. Society as we know it has collapsed, frozen in the moment of its downfall. Cities are overgrown with vegetation, streets are abandoned, and nature has reclaimed its place. This isn't the future. It's a world stuck in the past, with the remnants of 2013 serving as an eerie reminder of what once was. The world building is one of the game's greatest strengths, and a character on its own. Every location tells a story. You see homes left exactly as they were when people fled, children's stories scattered all over the floor, and overgrown vines creeping into bedrooms. It's a haunting juxtaposition of human loss and natural rebirth, a theme that echoes throughout the game. The attention to detail makes every area feel alive in its decay, forcing you to imagine the lives that were interrupted when the infection took hold. Ellie, the spark that changes everything. Ellie isn't just the soul of Last of Us Part 1. She's the thread that weaves hope into a world of despair. Her humor, defiance, and moments of unexpected kindness bring a lightness that feels almost foreign in a world so broken.
I'm so hungry.
I know, I am too.
All right, next squirrel I see, I'm totally shooting it.
Let's get past this place, then we can scrounge up some food.
Well, if I starve, you're responsible. Teamwork.
But that's what makes her so unforgettable. She's not just surviving, she's living, and she's helping Joel remember how to do the same. Take the moment in the abandoned library when Ellie pulls out her joke book. At first, it feels almost absurd, reading terrible puns in a world where death lurks around every corner. One of the moments that was really cool in this moment was when she does this joke. I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now. It's corny, but that's exactly why it works. For just a moment, the weight of their journey lifts, and Joel, despite himself, smirks. It's fleeting, yes, but it's real. A crack in his hardened exterior, a glimpse of the man he used to be. Ellie's jokes aren't just about humor, they're about holding on to the parts of humanity that are worth saving.
I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now.
Alright, I've actually never heard that one.
That's it. That's all I got.
Then, there's the time Ellie stole a toy for Sam. It is just a small act, but it speaks volume about who she is. Sam's older brother told him not to bother with it, as their number one rule was to not pack unnecessary stuff. But Ellie couldn't let it go. She saw what it meant to Sam, a boy forced to grow up too quickly, and in her own quiet way, she gave him a piece of his childhood back. It's these little gestures that show how Ellie's capacity for empathy in a world that often feels devoid of it. If you're actually sneaky enough, you could actually see her pick up the toy for Sam. One of the most emotionally charged moments in this game comes after Ellie runs away with the horse. When Joel and Tommy finds her hiding in an abandoned house, the confrontation between them cuts deep. Ellie brings up Sarah for the first time, hitting Joel in the most vulnerable part of his soul. It's raw, unfiltered, and forces Joel to confront the truth. Ellie isn't just cargo or someone to be smuggled anymore. She's someone he can't bear to lose. The tension in the scene is electric, but it's also a turning point. For the first time, they lay their emotions bare, and their bond becomes something unbreakable. This scene is made unforgettable by Ashley Johnson's incredible performance. The way she conveys Ellie's pain, fear, and longing with such authenticity pulls you in completely. It's a moment where Ellie isn't just a character anymore. She's a real person, fighting to be seen and valued.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. And we are going our separate ways.
But Ellie's resilience is tested most brutally during the winter chapter. After Joel goes through a horrific injury, she steps into a role no teenager should have to ever face, keeping them alive through sheer will and determination. First, it starts in the university, when she basically single-handedly took care of the enemies on her own, and also was able to take Joel to safety. I still don't know how the fuck she got him back on that horse. The winter chapter starts off with Ellie hunting. The first scene is an arrow going through a bunny, and then we find a deer that we start hunting, and just as we finally kill it and reach it, we meet David. He seems almost kind, a helpful stranger offering to share food and resources. He speaks in a calm, measured tone, his demeanor disarming despite the dire circumstances. For a moment, you actually want to believe him. Ellie, cautious yet desperate, lets her guard down, just enough to accept his help. But the tension lingers. Something about him feels off. It's in their subtle interactions that the true David begins to emerge. He talks just a little too much, his calmness unsettling rather than reassuring. When he casually mentions knowing about the girl traveling with the man, the creeping sense of dread becomes impossible to ignore. It's clear that David isn't just a stranger. He's been watching Ellie and Joel ever since the university. What begins as an uneasy partnership spirals into a fight for survival as David reveals his true
You're loyal.
intentions.
And you're special.
Oh.
David is not just a manipulator. He's predatory, calculating, and terrifyingly patient. His unsettling charm and veneer of civility mask something much, much darker. The way he corners Ellie physically and emotionally is suffocating. By the time Ellie's captured, the full extent of his menace is on display. He doesn't want to just hurt her, he wants to control her, to break her spirit. It's one of the most unsettling portrayals of evil in the game, made all the more powerful by its restraint. The final confrontation between Ellie and David is a culmination of everything she's endured. As the lodge burns around them, Ellie's desperation and fury explode into an act of survival at its rawest. The camera doesn't focus on the violence itself. It stays on Ellie, her face filled with rage and fear as she strikes David again and again and again and again. This choice is deliberate. It's not about what she's doing to him. It's about what this moment has done to her. It's a release, yes, but also a loss of innocence. Another scar added to the many she has already had. When Joel finds her afterward, the dynamic between them shifts permanently. As Ellie collapses into his arm, trembling, Joel pulls her closer and whispers, "It's okay, baby girl." That one line delivered with so much pain and love says everything. In that moment, Ellie isn't just someone Joel is protecting. She's family. It's a callback to Sarah, yes, but it's also something new. It's Joel allowing himself to care about someone else, to open himself up to love despite the risk of loss. Moments like these define The Last of Us. It's not about the brutality or the violence. It's about the people, the connections, and the fleeting moments of humanity that make survival worth it. By the time spring arrives, there's an undeniable shift in Joel's and Ellie's dynamic, but it's far from simple. The trauma of the winter chapter still hangs heavy in the air, especially for Ellie. After her harrowing experience with David, she's quieter, withdrawn, still carrying the weight of what she's been through. The energy and the spark that once defined her feels distant. and it's Joel who actually tries to step into a role we haven't seen him before. He's the one who's trying to make things lighter. It's subtle, but for the first time in the game, Joel takes the initiative to engage in small talk. He points out random things in the environment, asks Ellie about her thoughts and dreams, and even brings up the possibility of teaching her how to play the guitar. It's tender, not because it's grand, but it's because it shows Joel trying to reach to her. It's his way of reminding Ellie, and maybe himself, that there's something worth holding on to. As Joel and Ellie explore the ruins of Salt Lake City, Ellie suddenly stops and says out loud, "Oh my god." She hurries ahead, dropping a ladder for Joel to follow, her excitement cutting through the tension of the journey. Concerned and curious, Joel calls after her, but when he catches up, he sees what has captivated her, a giraffe, calmly grazing amidst the overgrown ruins. Ellie approaches cautiously, her movements slow and deliberate, as though she's afraid this moment might slip away if she moves too fast. When she finally reaches out to pet the giraffe, her face transforms, her eyes widen, and a genuine, unguarded smile spreads across her face. It's pure joy, a rare moment where she allows herself to simply be a kid again. Free from the weight of survival and what happened to her in December, Joel stays back at first, watching quietly, letting her have this moment. After the giraffe moves on, Joel and Ellie climb to the rooftop, where an entire herd of giraffes stretches out below them, peacefully roaming through the remnants of the city. The sight is breathtaking, life thriving against all odds. Joel stands beside Ellie, and for a moment, they both just watch in silence. It's one of the few times in their journey where they aren't just running, fighting, or grieving. For Ellie, this moment feels like a reminder of what the world once was and could still be. She's seen so much horror, endured so much pain, but here, for just a moment, there's something beautiful and unbroken. For Joel, it's about much more than giraffes. It's about Ellie herself, seeing her smile, hearing her laugh, and watching her let go of the weight she's been carrying. This means more to him more than he can express. It's not just relief, it's pride, care, and perhaps even love. The giraffe scene is more than just a beautiful moment, it's a reminder of what they're fighting for. After all the pain and loss, it's a glimpse of something pure, something worth living for. For that fleeting moment, in a world filled with so much darkness, everything feels okay. And fun fact, as a player, you could actually sit around and watch the scene as long as you want to. The game doesn't force you to move from the rooftop, only when you decide to. The underground tunnel is where The Last of Us cranks everything up to 11 and says, "Let's see if you can handle this, you poor, unsuspecting fool." By this point, you think you've survived the worst. You've dealt with ambushes, hordes of infected, and even the traumatic hell of the winter chapter. But this tunnel doesn't give a single fuck about your feelings. It's here to ruin your goddamn life. You know shit's about to go down when the game starts dumping loot on you like it's fucking Christmas morning. Medkits, ammo, crafting supplies. It's practically scheming you're about to eat shit, so here's a little bit of help. And it's not wrong. What's waiting ahead is pure, unrelenting chaos. The second you step into this godforsaken place, it's a nightmare. It's dark, it's damp, and it's crawling with every type of infected the game can throw at you. Clickers are lurking in the shadows, the creepy ass clicks bouncing off the walls and making your skin crawl. The runners are pacing around, ready to fuck your shit up the second you make a sound. And just when you think, okay, maybe I could sneak past this, the game throws in a bloater. Or two. Or three. A big ass tank of fucking fungus that takes forever to kill and will happily one shot you if you're too slow. It's the game's way of saying fuck you in particular. What makes this section so brutally fucked is that it doesn't let up. There's no break, no time to breathe. It's just a wave after wave of bullshit, testing your patience, your nerves, and your ability to not chuck the controller across the room. By the time you claw your way out of that tunnel, you're a goddamn shell of a person you were. Your supplies are gone, your nerves are shattered, and all you think is, what the fuck is next? But the fucked up brilliance of this section is not that it's just hard for the sake of being hard. It's the game making sure you feel every ounce of tension and desperation leading into the final stretch. The tunnel isn't just a gauntlet. It's a perfectly designed setup for the emotional devastation that's waiting at the hospital. You don't leave the tunnel feeling victorious. You leave it absolutely fucked. And that's exactly the point. I am aware that Last of Us Part 2 have a much more difficult sections in this, the hospital section and also the Rat King section, but this is its own way in Last of Us Part 1. Just when you think you finally escaped the nightmare of the underground tunnel, the game throws one last curveball to remind you it's not done messing with you. Joel and Ellie, battered and exhausted, finally find a way forward. But as they navigate the flooded final stretch, everything goes sideways. One more time. The current picks up, Ellie swept away, and suddenly Joel is diving into the chaos to save her. Because she doesn't know how to fucking swim. The Firefly shows up, guns drawn, and Joel barely has time to process what's happening before they knock him out. Merlene steps in, explaining that Ellie is being prepped for surgery, and the truth hits like a gut punch. The Fireflies plan to extract the cordyceps from Ellie's brain to create a cure, but the procedure will kill her.
It's why she's immune. Once they remove it, they'll be able to reverse engineer a vaccine. A vaccine.
But it grows all over the brain.
It does.
Find someone else.
There is no one else.
Listen, you were gonna show me.
The scene is a masterclass in emotional storytelling. Marlene is calm about this, but you could see from her face that despite she is hopeful about the vaccine, Ellie does mean something to her, since she was friends with her mom and she promised to protect her. But Joel's silence speaks louder than words. You can feel his rage bubbling under the surface, the helplessness threatening to break from him. For Joel, this isn't just a choice. It's a line he cannot cross. The look in his eyes says it all. If they think they're going to take Ellie from him, they're dead wrong.
Keep walking. I said keep walking. Where was the operating room? I ain't got time for this. Where? Where? Top floor, the far end.
The way this scene is shot makes it even better. There's no hesitation, no theatrics, just raw, violent determination. Joel doesn't even flinch as he takes out the Firefly. His face a mask of pure resolve. This isn't just a fight for survival. It's personal. The Fireflies thought they had the upper hand, but Joel flips the script in an instant, and it's glorious. This moment sets the tone for what's to come. Joel isn't negotiating, and he sure as hell isn't stopping. He's on a warpath now, and nothing, not mortality, not reason, not even the fate of the world is gonna stand in his way. The hospital sequence is where The Last of Us reaches its emotional and philosophical peak. After everything Joel and Ellie have endured, this is the final trial. A place where survival, mortality, and love collide in the most devastating way possible. As you navigate the cold hallways of the hospital, every step feels heavier. The Fireflies aren't just faceless enemies. They're people fighting for what they believe is the greater good. They're here to save humanity, to end the infection that has destroyed the world. But Joel isn't just fighting for the many, he's fighting for the one. For him, Ellie isn't just a cure. She's his second chance, his reason to keep going, the person who pulled him back from the brink of despair. And here's where the game forces us to wrestle with a question as old as time. What would you sacrifice for the greater good? Joel's answer is unequivocal. He doesn't care about the greater good. To him, the world has already taken too much. His daughter, his hope, his belief in humanity, Tess. And now it wants to take Ellie. But Ellie isn't just another person to save. She's his redemption. The one thing in this broken world that gave his life meaning again. In saving her, Joel isn't just protecting Ellie. He's protecting himself from losing everything again. The philosophical weight of this moment lies in its brutal simplicity. The Firefly sees Ellie as humanity's savior. Joel sees her as his daughter. The Firefly believes her sacrifice will save countless lives. Joel believes her life is worth more than all of them combined. Who's right? Who's wrong? The game doesn't give you an answer. It leaves you in the tension of that question. forcing you to sit with the impossibility of this choice. For me, it's hard to fully grasp Joel's perspective. I'm not a father, but I think that's what makes this moment so profound. Joel's actions defy logic, mortality, in a way that's deeply human. His decision isn't about what's right, it's about love. It's about the overwhelming, all consuming instinct to protect someone who means everything to you, no matter the cost. It is selfish, yes, but it's also painfully real. Then there's the operating room, the ultimate test of Joel's resolve. The surgeons aren't armed, they're not a threat, they're just doctors trying to do their job. And yet, Joel doesn't hesitate. He kills without question, because in that moment, nothing else matters but Ellie. This act, more than anything else, highlighted the complexity of his character. It's horrifying, it's heartbreaking, and it's undeniably powerful. And that's the brilliance of this moment. It forces you to confront the uncomfortable reality of Joel's choice. He's saving the person he loves, but at what cost? The lives of countless people? Humanity's future? His own humanity? These are the questions the game doesn't answer, because it's not about the answers itself, it's about the experience of wrestling with them. When I think about Joel's decision, I can't help but wonder, would I have done the same? I might not be a father, but the depth of Joel's love for Elise resonates on a universal level. It's messy, selfish, and deeply flawed, but it's also profoundly human. And maybe that's the point. The Last of Us isn't just a story about the apocalypse, it's a story about love. And love, as this scene so brutally reminds us, that it's never simple.
It ain't for you to decide.
It's what she'd want. And you know it. Look. You can still do the right thing here. She won't feel anything.
After the chaos of the hospital, Joel and Ellie finally escape. But as they drive away, the silence between them sparks louder than words. When Ellie wakes up, Joel doesn't tell her the truth about what happened. Instead, he lies. He tells her that the Fireflies had stopped looking for a cure, that there was nothing special about her immunity worth sacrificing for.
Drugs are still wearing off.
What happened?
We found the Fireflies. Turns out there's a whole lot more like you, Ellie. People that are immune. There's dozens, actually. Ain't done them a damn bit of good, neither. They've stopped looking for a cure.
It's a moment that feels both protective and deeply unsettling. Joel's lie is rooted in love, but it's also profoundly selfish. By lying, he takes away Ellie's chance to make her own choice about what she's willing to sacrifice. Philosophically, the moment raises one of the game's most challenging questions. Is love inherently selfish? Joel's action saves her life, but at what cost? He doesn't just protect her, he takes her freedom, her ability to decide her own fate. And yet, can you really blame him? For Joel, Ellie's more than just a person. She's the embodiment of everything he's lost and everything he's fought for. His lie is both a betrayal and an act of love, a decision so morally grey that it leaves you questioning your own sense of right and wrong. When Ellie confronts him at the end, asking if what he said about the Fireflies was true, Joel doesn't hesitate. He lies to her, he swears to her. The look in her eyes suggests she knows he's lying, but she chooses to believe him. Or maybe she doesn't. She just chooses to let it go. It's not a resolution. It's quiet, lingering tension that stays with you long after the credits roll.
Let's just wait it out. You know, we can be all poetic and just lose our minds together. I'm still waiting for my turn.
Ellie.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die. And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
None of that is on you.
You don't understand.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And no matter what, You keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear
but
to
it's-
me. Swear to me that everything that you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
A masterpiece beyond measure. The Last of Us Part 1 isn't just a game, it's a testament to what storytelling and gaming can achieve. It's raw, unflinching exploration of love and the fragile threads that hold humanity together when everything else has fallen apart. From its gripping opening moments to its morally ambiguous ending, this is a game that doesn't just entertain, it stays with you, embedding itself in your mind and heart long after the credits roll. Every piece of this experience, from the breathtaking world building to even to the music made by Gustavo Santaolalla, works in perfect harmony to create something truly unforgettable. It's not just the way the game plays, it's the way it makes you feel. It pulls you into the lives of Joel and Ellie and forces you to wrestle with the impossible choices they face. You don't just watch the story, you live it. And in doing so, it challenges you to examine your own mortality, your own sense of love, and your own understanding of what it means to survive in an imperfect world. What makes The Last of Us truly masterful is its refusal to give you easy answers. There's no clean resolution, no right or wrong decision. Joel's actions at the hospital are both selfish and deeply human, forcing us to sit through the discomfort of his choice. The game isn't interested in telling you how to feel. It wants you to reflect, to question, and to carry the weight of its story with you. And then there's the bond between Joel and Ellie, one of the most beautifully realized relationships in gaming. It's messy, imperfect, and painfully real. Their journey is one of mutual transformation, of two broken people finding purpose and love in a world that has tried to strip it away from them. It's the relationship more than anything that elevates the game into something timeless, in my opinion. This isn't just a post apocalyptic game, it's a story about humanity. It's about what we're willing to fight for, what we're willing to sacrifice, and the complicated, often contradictory nature of love. It shows us the best and worst of ourselves, and it doesn't shy away from the darkness that exists within all of us. Years later, Last of Us is still as powerful as the date it was released. It's not just a milestone in gaming, it's a masterpiece of storytelling, a work of art that pushes the medium to its fullest potential. Few games have managed to create something this deeply emotional, this morally challenging, and this unforgettable. It's a testament to the fact that video games can be so much more than entertainment. They can be experiences that change the way we see the world. The Last of Us Part 1 isn't just a game, it's a journey. And for those who have played it, it's a story we'll carry with us forever. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The Last of Us Part 1 means so much to me, and gaming in general means so much to me. I love video games. I love playing games, and I love playing story games, and I love the effect that it does to me and the effect that it does to other people. I see them play games as well. It genuinely is the best. Video games is the best. But what I really wanted to say is excuse me for this poor quality. My microphone isn't the best. Game capturing, I don't have a game capturer. I'm using the PlayStation share button. But if you guys really want me to, I don't mind investing in the microphone and the game capture to make my next video even more like captivating if you guys want. So do let me know in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much. And I'm glad we talked about this game. Oh, and also if you haven't played this game, fucking play it.